Hey guys, and welcome to the TCC podcast, where we discuss everything coffee.
Hey guys, Stefan here.
And Theo.
Welcome to the TCC podcast.
Welcome to the next episode.
Next episode. So today's topic, we're gonna speak about an interesting one for me. I didn't know that big influence in coffee, but it's about coffee and water.
Definitely a very interesting topic. Water, this strange thing that I realized that no one experiments with.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, who would have ever thought if you take different waters, throw it through the same coffee and the same method, that the coffee could actually taste different?
Yeah, not me. And
Definitely not me.
Yeah, well, and even just drinking water, there's so many different waters, and there's actually a taste difference in water. You can taste when it's not purified enough, or if there's more
Purified too much,
and
or if all the nutrition is out.
yeah, all that, and even if it's purified too much, how much the nutrition it takes out of your body.
Yes.
You get more thirsty. All those kinds of things. Water is actually very interesting.
Well, it definitely is a subject that I think personally people need to be educated on a lot more.
Yes, definitely.
Personally.
Because it's good for your health at the end of the day. And
Yes.
At the end of the day.
79% of our body is water.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the type of water that your body needs, water, I just heard I pronounced that very strange. If you don't have the right type of water for your body, then your body needs to steal nutrition the water then steals the nutrition from your body, so your body can actually, what's the word now? To work it out, to work it through,
to flush it through.
To flush it, yeah, but that's not the right word. If you eat something, your body needs
absorb.
to. Yes, almost there.
I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Where's Mr. Tian now? Just to let you guys know, Tian might pop in. We came all the way to the shop today to come and shoot with him, and just as we start shooting, you guys might see him in the background if you're watching on YouTube. So he's gonna pop in every now and again and just fall in the middle of the discussion. Just join us, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But he unfortunately have to look after the shop, so therefore he can't be here the whole time.
Well, no, not unfortunately.
It's unfortunate for us.
Yes, no. So obviously I can't be part of the conversation the whole time, but I do love looking after the shop, obviously.
Yes.
So it's not unfortunate. It's just timing and place. So I get to share myself with more people that can enjoy, this lovely voice.
So with your lovely voice, give us some info on the coffee we're drinking today.
Yes, maybe give us what coffee are we drinking? Because apparently you brewed it.
Well, you were supposed to brew it.
Yeah, he was supposed to brew it, then he got busy.
That's can I just say, that's some nonsense right now. Being thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
haven't
what we do.
tasted the coffee. I didn't even make the coffee. I only literally added one component to the brewing part.
What was that? The temperature of the water?
Asking what the temperature of the water should be.
Yeah, he asked all the right questions.
And then he left us all to suffer in silence.
No, well, I was helping the people inside. But anyway,
so that's all about the people.
The coffee that we're tasting today is actually from a very interesting roastery that we discovered probably about 5 or 6 months ago, that we really tasted the coffee for the first time. And they are from Bloemfontein in the Free State.
Not Bloemfontein.
Oh, sorry, not Bloemfontein.
Potchefstroom.
In the northwest.
But they don't roast in Porch. They actually roast in the Free State.
Well, no, they actually moved the roaster to Porch now.
Now you see, these are the logistic things that we find out kind of in the conversation.
Okay, so
I found that out
in
when
South
I was,
Africa.
Yeah, when I was at their shop, I found that out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're in South Africa, guys.
So
Yes.
And those two places are quite far apart. But anyway, so this was from the Toro Roastery. It comes from Colombia, brought in by Sabores Flavors of Colombia. So you're here, obviously, lately we've been tasting
Another Sabores.
a lot of coffee from Sabores.
Those guys are good.
So it was a purple caturra variety that was put through a natural process. And it is a medium roast, which is about all the information that they're giving us. But very interesting about this was the first purple caturra single variety that I actually had the privilege of tasting. So This would be probably varietal number 52 of a single varietal that I have tasted. And tasted some others that I never even realized, and then afterwards I'm like, wow, okay, cool, we tasted this before. But anyway, back to the coffee, and then obviously to water.
So you mentioned it was a what process? Natural process.
Natural.
A natural process.
Yeah, it's a natural process. We could actually pull a bit of information of the coffee because I have it available, but through Saborius' website. But so the roaster or the founders of Toro Coffee or Toro Coffee Roasteries is Etienne Broodryk. Very interesting. You guys can check him out on Instagram. Their Instagram handle is toro.community. Very, very fantastic guys, very passionate. When they got into coffee, they only knew dark roast. Then they tasted a speciality and they saw this is different from what everybody else actually has.
Yeah.
And then they started roasting speciality. Then they actually lost almost all of their client base.
Just because they changed from
because people
from
didn't
dark
know
roast.
speciality.
And in the where they are situated, it's a very
It's
small
old,
town,
small
all people
farm,
farming,
yes.
Farmers.
Community.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
very much.
In South Africa, the farmers like strong coffee, and for them, strong
I like
coffee
the way
is
you say that, strong coffee, man.
For them, it's a black coffee with a very
black
dark
percolated dark roast, yes.
Dark roast,
You're right.
and it's being brewed the whole day, basically.
It's one of those
it takes
ones.
all the bitterness.
You put it on top of the stovetop in the percolator, and you let it brew for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah. Because then it's stronger.
Yes, and then you put a spoon in it, and if the spoon stays upright, then only it's strong enough to drink.
Without touching the sides.
Yes, yeah, it's not allowed to fall over. It must just stay up. So I've got here. It's a purple caturra, natural process. It was grown in the Pitalito in Huila. It's a 1,730 meters above sea level, so 1,730. It was a solar dried and raised beds in shade. So they actually did a solar dryer.
Solar dryer.
Yes, and then went
I've never
to
heard
raised
about the
beds.
solar dryer.
So it's basically a electronic or a man-built dryer. So they put the coffee inside and it spins, then giving it, I'm guessing if they did it the way that I read here, solar dried, obviously they put it into the machine, they dried it a bit.
Yeah.
Then they took the still very moist or still very wet coffee, but probably dried on the outside.
Okay.
And they put it on raised beds in shade to obviously dry really, really slow.
So basically if I understand correctly, they speed up the process a little bit just to dry it on the outside.
Yes, just so that it doesn't create mold or anything like that.
Okay.
Obviously, living in Colombia,
yes.
I'm guessing the humidity there is very high, and it's an 88-point coffee, so it's
nice.
And it's delicious. People,
Very
I mean,
delicious.
you guys have seen me and you've heard me speak about caturra. The purple caturra is my ultimate favorite coffee.
It's an amazing coffee.
Yeah, I love it. It tastes like green, like purple, very dark purple grapes.
Yes.
The aroma is very interesting. It's almost like a strawberry juicy type of aroma.
Yeah, definitely.
No, but it's very, very delicious. Okay, so to the topic, water. Stefan mentioned to me before we started this podcast that he's not really tried a lot of different waters with coffee. So he's got his research in front of us, which means he's going to be quoting some research, actual scientific facts and stuff like that. I didn't read much up on the subject because I was going to just chat about my personal experience.
Yeah, you've done a lot of water tastings.
I have literally taken a V60 and put 40 different coffees on the table, 40 different waters on the table with exactly the same method, exactly the same coffee.
Okay.
Same ratio, same everything.
To see what's the difference in flavor, what you're getting out.
Yes, hardness, softness, sweetness,
TDS,
acidity. TDS obviously has an influence on some of that.
So all the things that you see on a bottle of water, like the content, the info that's on, all of that plays a role in the flavors you get out of your coffee.
Yes, the mouthfeel and the
the
flavors that it could
Yeah.
extract actually from the coffee.
and extracting the sweetness, bitterness, and acidity
That's
in
it.
different ways because of what's in your water,
Exactly.
and how much is in, how much is not there.
That's it.
And from your side, that's tested everything. What would you say is the best water
Well,
according to this?
To the values that's available.
That's
Yes, yes, yes.
inside of your water. What's the best one that balances a good espresso?
Well, that's
or
actually a very good
coffee,
question.
if I can say it like that.
Yes. Now, just on answering the question
Yes.
with a bit of a story, when I came into coffee, they were like, "Okay, we need to put water filters in your shop," and I was like, "Yeah, no, I've got a filtration system." And they say, "Oh no, so what's the specs of your water?" And I was like, "What do you mean the specs? It's carbon filter." And they go, "Oh, no, you don't want your coffee machine water to go through a carbon filter.
Okay.
We actually need to test the water to see whether we need to soften the water, make the water harder,
Yeah.
push in magnesium." And I was like, "Hold on a second, what are you talking about?" They said, "No, well, it's very important to have the right type of nutrients and vitamins inside your water, TDS wise,
Yeah.
to formulate a really good balanced espresso."
Okay.
So then they came to my shop
Yeah.
in Pretoria. They tested the water and they noticed that our water has a really good pH, a really good TDS,
Yeah.
is well balanced between magnesium and calcium. And they said, "Okay, great. You
Okay.
said you've got a carbon filter." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." So I showed them and they were like, "Oh no, that's just normal to just carbon filter tap water." And I was like, "Oh, not the same thing." They go, "No. So there's a special filter." So we put the filter in, and it just caught all of the unnecessary junk, right?
Okay.
And it made insane espressos. Now,
Nice.
then we went to the shop in Johannesburg, and they tested the water, and they needed to soften the water. The water in Johannesburg is really, really hard.
That's interesting.
So that means that they had to take a different filter, and that's now why I wanted to give a bit of a story.
Yeah.
They had to put a different filter on the water to actually soften the water, otherwise it was too acidic. And I was like,
That's interesting.
wow, and it was dry in your mouth. Like no matter what you did with the ratio, it was dry like the desert.
That's so interesting how just a small, well, according to us, water is the same. In general, people don't really think about water.
No, we just
So
drink it.
Now you just go 60 kilometers away from Pretoria, and the water is
Completely
way
different.
And
Yes.
like I said, it's a way harder coffee if you can.
Yes.
The hardness is more.
Yes.
And that changes the whole taste of the coffee. So now, let's say you don't focus on getting your filters correct and all that stuff. Now somebody drinks it from your Pretoria shop, gets a nice coffee, go to your Joburg shop, gets a different coffee, but it's the same coffee, the same extracted.
Same
And then
everything,
then
yes.
That's only the water that makes the difference.
That's it. And
That-
so
that's so
therefore
interesting.
you have to use different filters
Yeah.
to create the same flavor profile.
Yeah.
Which is crazy when you think about it. Now,
Lots of
for
science.
me, yes, so much. Now, when I did my test with the 40 different waters on the table, I didn't quite go, as deep as playing with different filters.
Yeah.
I just went and bought different brands of bottles
Okay.
from all the local shops that sold water. So
Yeah.
we've got the local water purifier. You've got the big national brand water purifier.
Yeah.
I would go to all of them. Then I would go to like our local grocery store, and I would find, many different waters. So for instance, just to name a few, not to put one in front of another one, because I would, in my mind, think that the water would be different dependent on where you're from, dependent on how they obviously bottle it.
Yeah.
Now, Fuji Water, for instance, really well-known brand in Europe, very well balanced, very good TDS,
Okay.
very good pH, very high in alkalinity
Yeah.
points. Calcium double the amount of the magnesium.
Yeah.
So it's a well-balanced water in your mouth.
Okay.
Then you've got, local, you've got your Thirsty, you've got
Yes.
your Valpre, you've got your Bonacqua, you've got a few of those.
Yeah,
Just to mention 2 or 3. Again, like Bonacqua, I know it's going to be different from country to country because they've got a Bonacqua filtration system, I think. that they filter the water through to put certain elements
so it's not
in.
a natural spring water.
It's not natural spring. Now, like Thirsty, for instance, which is a natural brand here in South Africa, they actually pull the water from a natural spring in the Drakensberg, which they don't add nothing. That's pure water.
Yeah.
And that changes the water in quite a big sense because it's naturally from the earth. Nothing is added, nothing is taken away. They literally just put it through a normal carbon filter, again, just to catch all of the filthy total dissolved solids.
Yes,
so the stuff that your body doesn't want.
Yeah, it's not.
But nutrition-wise,
harmful for your body.
Yes,
like
very
that.
high. Now, I have to say, from the water that I have been, able to drink, and I have been privileged. I have traveled the world, but of all the waters I've tasted in the whole world, Valpre is available worldwide.
Oh, okay.
And that one really worked. So if you live in whichever country and you have Valpre water available, really good water to try with your coffee. It makes really balanced coffees.
Oh, really?
Now,
okay.
m.a.s.l, who's also an international brand, I'm not sure if they've got their water internationally, but it's an international brand, with coffee does not work.
The reason why? What's the reason?
So the magnesium.
What's the difference between the Valpre content and the we don't have? I can search for it now, but why is there what's the difference between the two that makes it coffee taste balanced and
what I
not
realized
so good?
Looking at the waters, mostly magnesium and calcium.
Okay,
now
so that's
I know potassium and sodium and all of those things also have an effect, but for me, through my research, the thing that influenced it the most was looking at the magnesium and calcium ratio.
Okay.
If the calcium is double as much as the magnesium, it's really balanced. If the calcium is really high, let's say 20 points higher than the magnesium, let's say on a 1:20 ratio type of style, the water is very acidic, but very, very moist. And if I could use that word, it's like it's watery in your mouth. And if the magnesium,
so the mouth feel is watery.
Yes, like it's
so
soft,
it's not
creamy and watery. It's got no dryness to it. If the magnesium is too high or higher than the calcium, then the water is really sweet in your mouth, but it actually feels very milky.
That's interesting.
You add coffee to that, and it came out a lot more bitter. Now, was it more bitter? I don't know. It could just be the elements of the magnesium playing a role on my tongue, on taste receptors, and it made it feel more bitter. I don't know. I don't go into the science of it.
Don't you think when it infuses with the coffee that something happens there?
Well, it probably extracts more elements from the water. Now, I know that we can go really, really geeky right now, and we can pull out some really interesting scientific research and go, okay, magnesium, high magnesium water extracts these type of amino acids, creating this type of body feel, and so on and so forth, and we can do that in the future. I obviously don't want to go too deep on the first episode.
I think the best way to do that is to speak to
a water professional
and Barista Hustle.
And definitely Barista Hustle, they've got amazing research.
The guys from
on it.
Barista Hustle, they focus so much on water. I must say they've got if you go onto their website,
there's a whole course on water. I actually did the whole course.
It's amazing. They've got so many things on water, and water for coffee, and so they do a lot of research and a lot of testing and a lot of. So if you want to know anything about coffee and water, please go and check out
baristahustle.com, I think.
Yes, I think so.
And just search water on Barista Hustle, you'll see it. It's amazing.
They've got a lot of info on it, and
they break it down to particle size.
They go very geeky and very sciencey.
Yes. Now, even though I did the course, I can't even remember everything they said because they said so much.
So
and it's sad.
If you like water and coffee and it interests you, go and check it out.
Yeah, and also if you want to speak on this, please send us a DM on Instagram or Twitter.
If you know more about this.
Yes, we would love to have you on the show.
Yes.
Just to kind of geek out for the geeky people. I like to geek out, but I can't remember everything.
Awesome. Okay, so basically for you, the main elements that you look at when you let's say buy water from your local grocery store
Yeah.
for your coffee, you're looking at the magnesium and the calcium.
I look at mostly those two.
Mostly
yes.
of those.
And sometimes the TDS. Now,
Okay.
why TDS? I want my water to be rich in nutrition, so it doesn't steal any nutrition from my coffee to try and produce something that I can drink.
Okay.
And now this is personal experience, not any scientific
Yes.
facts or anything like that. For me, that makes a difference. pH wise, I've not been able to find a difference.
Okay.
We've got a local coffee brand that's got, they say it's the cleanest water in the country. It's got a 1 to 5 TDS, and the pH is 6.3, balanced. And then I would have a coffee like the Thirsty, which is a 9. I think it's an 8.9 or a 9 pH.
Yes.
And between the two of those, the only thing I could find a difference in was the magnesium and calcium.
Okay.
Because it is so different in that aspect that it was an insane difference.
Okay, so when you tasted it, so you realized that the TDS and the pH that didn't play that big of a role for
not
you.
out of all of
for
the
you.
waters, yes.
Because I've saw on 7 Miles, they got like a summer year that they did a
Love
lot
7
of
Miles project.
they did a lot of testing and stuff. So they say on the pH, they say the higher the pH, the greater the amount of flavor extracted.
Interesting.
We recommend pH 7 to 8.5 for maximizing flavor and consistency in extraction rates.
Beautiful.
So have you maybe tried to try and
pH
extract
wise, yes, I have.
flavor wise?
I definitely looked at that. So the natural local brand that has a very like a 6.3 pH versus the Bonacqua, for instance, which I think is a 7 or something. And but again, their nutrition aspects around the magnesium and calcium was different.
So you realize with all your testing that's the two
Those
main
are the
factors.
two things that made a difference for me.
It's interesting because I haven't seen. I'll go and check through the stuff, but I didn't really see that they mentioned those two so much in detail that it plays a role in your tasting of your coffee. They gave the hardness, the pH, and the TDS.
Yes.
So on the hardness, they say, and it looks like they say it's according to SCA also. They say 60. SCA, according to SCA, you have to have it around 60
ppm.
Yes. So and
particles per. I can't remember what's the measurement in water, but yes.
Yeah. So I also don't know. So they said between 50 and 80. So hardness has a significant effect of the pure amount of flavor extracted. So up to 80 ppm. Beyond this, there are diminishing flavor returns and risk of machine damage. So it looks like they also focus on.
If the water's too hard, it builds lime scale.
Looks like they focus on the machines also when they did this.
That's actually why we in Johannesburg had to add a special filter to soften the water.
Especially for your machine.
Yes, because the chlorine content's a lot higher.
Okay.
And therefore, if the chlorine content is a lot higher, it actually builds lime scale on the inside of your coffee machine, inside your boiler, and then you have to descale. Now, people with bean to cup machines are like, what do you guys mean? We descale every 6 weeks. Now, that is exactly why we have those special filters.
Yes.
We can't descale every 6 weeks. Our machines, we have to take the whole machine apart, take the whole boiler out, and let it lay inside descaler.
It's a huge process.
Oh man, it takes like a week.
Sure. Okay.
You don't have an extra machine to stand around for for a week of descaling. So yes, very important.
Okay, interesting. And then they also, this is just a top 3 summary that they did.
Well, this last one is interesting.
On the TDS.
Yes, they say no.
It's interesting. They say alternating brew water TDS without alternating hardness had no effect on the amount of flavor extracted. So
now they got me rolling, and I'm going to go and look for 2 different waters now.
Let's go
with different
TDSs. So
what,
do you want to look for one with a low TDS and one with high TDS?
Yes.
Maybe try.
So a low and a high, which the magnesium and calcium is very similar.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure. I can't remember that there was any, but I didn't exactly observe for the TDS versus that value. This banning. Okay, different. Well, I'll have to experience with that, you know.
Yeah, well,
Experiment with
this
it.
is just one result that they have. For,
Yes.
and this is 7 miles. So
And again, I love 7 miles.
and we can also go and look at Barista Hustle's side of what they say on TDS and
Yes.
stuff like that. So then maybe, like I said, let's experiment, because that's why we're here,
For sure.
to learn.
That's what it comes down
And-
to. Like,
and-
we want to ask the questions
Yeah.
to get ourselves thinking, and then also get you thinking, so that we together can go out, experiment, and let each other know what we found.
And please, if you guys are into the water and you guys experiment with water in a daily basis, give us a shout. We would really like to try and experiment more on it to get the best out of our coffees.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So why do you think this is important, the water?
Well, the reason why I would say it's important to know this information comes down to, again, my personal experience. I never knew there was a difference. I just knew that I liked certain waters and I don't like other type of waters.
Yes.
And then when I started playing around with the water, well, because someone mentioned water makes a difference.
Yeah.
So I started experimenting with it, going, okay, well, I want to know what the difference is.
Yeah.
And as I started brewing the coffees, I noticed that certain waters make the coffee taste better, like more balanced.
Yeah.
Other waters made the coffee more acidic. And if you like acidity, then that's a good water to go for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no right or wrong water for it. And that's why I was laughing when you asked the question, which I saw as the best. Because I personally feel there is no best. It's just different.
Yes.
If you like more bitterness in your coffee, go for a water with higher magnesium.
That's
Naturally,
interesting.
you will
Yeah.
extract from an acidic coffee more of that bitterness, making your cup a lot more enjoyable.
So the Italian guys go for higher magnesium.
Or darker roast, who knows?
darker roast with higher magnesium. You never
Wow.
know.
And then they go and add some sugar. No, I'm joking. If you're Italian, this is not
We like to tease you guys because you guys have a more bitter palate.
Yeah.
And
I just
so-
can't get it in. I'm not going to go on that again, but so I think it's important to know, because you could actually find a fantastic cup of coffee from the local coffee roaster who you said you didn't like his coffee because his coffee is always too acidic. Just go and find a water that works for that coffee.
Yeah, that takes out the acidity and bring more balance into it.
Bitterness and balance,
Yeah.
yes, away from the acidic element.
Yes.
So for me, that would be the reason why this is important. Now, I would say to you, how do you think, according to your research, this could actually make your coffee better?
Well, like you said, you basically answered it in the first question, because
I guess
because when you, like we always say, find what you like, find out what your palate like.
Yes.
Find out if you like acidity, if you like bitterness, or you like balance. If you enjoy that and you get a coffee that sometimes you feel that it's more acidic, go and maybe try and play with water.
Yes.
See if the water makes a difference in that specific coffee. If it doesn't, then you can go and look for a different coffee that's got less acidity, and then you can play again with your water.
That's it.
Go. Don't just take the coffee and take the water out of your tap and say, okay, I'm gonna make
This
it.
must be the
yeah,
best.
and now the coffee is not nice, and now you criticize the coffee guys that roasted it, the farm, whatever.
Yes.
And now you criticize them because
your water was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, that would be so offensive.
Yeah, but I don't say you do that, but I'm just a worst case scenario. But
Well, it's something like, I can think back in the history of me getting into coffee. I'm sure I did something like that. Now, actually, I'm going to be stupid to myself, and I'm going to go and find a fairly darkish roast. I'm going to find a really, really acidic water, try and see if I can extract the flavor from that coffee without getting the bitterness out.
yeah, that can be interesting.
That would be an interesting exercise to experiment with.
I see, and that's the that makes it interesting for me, because our water in South Africa is different to like the water in Europe.
Oh, for sure.
So maybe the coffees that they have there, and they taste certain amount of acidity or whatever, and they comes here, we get a different feel and a taste and stuff. So around that, it might be the water that has an influence in the
100%.
So that's really, that's why I think this, when you know
Italians have better water, man.
it might be. It might be. maybe it's not that bitter in Italy.
Yeah, maybe it's not that bitter in Italy. Now, I've had coffee in Italy, but it's so long ago. I can't even recall because I couldn't compare it to what I drink today. It's too long ago. But
and we basically answered the last question on how you can apply this. So
right, how can we apply this? Take your coffee, buy different waters, or take your water and try different coffees.
Yeah. So and see what coffee works with your water.
That's it.
So and what at the end of the day, you're going back to what you like, what your palate like. What do you
discover
like?
what you prefer.
That's what it's all about. What
Man,
do you like?
this really opened up. Now I've got something. We thought we were going to talk to you guys, discussing what we have experienced, and we just open up a new, completely rabbit hole for ourselves.
Now we're gonna do it. Go and experiment some more.
Yes. Anyway, guys, awesome. Thank you for listening in. We really appreciate the time that you take to listen to this podcast. Now, on the Instagram, please go and tell us in the comments of this specific post for this podcast, or just send us a DM, and please tell us what is your favorite water and your favorite coffee combination. Maybe even your different variety from a specific roaster that just works with a specific type of water. I would love to experiment more.
And you guys can also go and experiment some with the water and give us some feedback on it.
Please.
That would
we
be
want to
awesome.
learn from you. We can't do all of the experiments.
We
are
together.
Just 4 people.
For now.
We need the rest of you out there.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, we can learn because you guys are on a different continent, or
that as well. We can't have your water.
And your water is different than ours. So
yes. You know what? And I'm going to say this, knowing that we've already started finishing this podcast, but my ultimate favorite water to drink in the world, flavor-wise, so the flavor of the actual water came from the Highlands in Scotland. A fountain that comes out of the mountain, then freezes. Then as it melts, it runs down the river, it runs down the mountain, creating a river, and that river, they then catch the water, they bottle it, and they sell it. I think around the world, if I'm not mistaken, but it's very widely available in the UK, in Great Britain, and it is phenomenal tasting coffee.
So you're sure it's not whiskey?
I'm sure they've used it for whiskey, and I've got it without a doubt in my mind that would have created a phenomenal whiskey, man.
That's good.
But no, it wasn't whiskey that I was drinking.
Awesome. But so on that note, thanks guys for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and we will chat to you on the next episode. May you go out
and find your happy place
in every single cup.
Cheers.
Cheers.